We're going to talk about our fiscal plan this evening. And in doing so, your philosophic considerations for choosing a budget model should really be based upon allocating or dispersing your finite resources to the prioritized needs of your school district, or to the things in your school district that have the highest priority. And this goes as well with your athletic department. Sometimes there's a bigger need among different sports. But in most cases for a school district, your budget will represent legal authority that the school has to spend money. So when you adopt a budget, you're saying that a set of decisions has been made by the school board and your administrators. That happens when you use your resources or money from the government to help fund your school's district needs. The combination budget, or the zero-based and externally funded or incremental budgets combined with external resources, is what I feel works best for most school districts, and that's what we use at Ozark High School. When you take time to propose a budget, it really should contain several decisions that are tied or go hand in hand with the goals and objectives of your school district and your athletic department. Sometimes the decisions made or the sport or activity are ranked in order of importance in reaching the above-mentioned goals and objectives. Zero-based budgeting is where program activities and services have to be justified every year during the development process. And this will lend itself to holding everyone, I feel, a little bit more accountable. When you combine this with the incremental budgeting, you don't have to spend a lot of time trying to do a detailed analysis with the funding requirements year in and year out. The athletic director and the coaching staff, everybody has a good idea really what their budget will be year after year. If there are monies available, everyone every year gets a similar increase over the previous year, and this makes everyone feel like they are on a level playing field and being treated equally, and therefore you don't have any jealousy among sports or coaching staffs. External resources, they come in many different shapes and sizes and are very important in providing assistance to the sports clubs and activities when there is not enough money in the budget, or just to help offset the demand that is placed on the school district and the athletic department. Some of these different resources are sponsorships that we sell to join the booster club, or you can become an event sponsor for one of the games. Next is the selling of advertisement on all of our scoreboards. We put out a program in the fall, winter, and spring for all of the sports and sell advertisement on those as well, or signage on your athletic fields. A lot of school districts and athletic departments receive donations or in-kind gifts from businesses or stakeholders in the community that really feel like they need to lend a helping hand. Pay-to-play is also gaining popularity, especially in larger school districts where the participants are charged a fee for the year to participate. And I know in some school districts, if you have that pay-to-play, then the parents don't have to pay to get into games at the home games at your school. The last external resource you could use is a tax increase, and that is if the district can get it passed. A lot of school districts really struggle to get a tax increase passed, but at Ozark, in my 25 years there, we have yet to not pass a tax levy or a tax increase. Anything that has ever been put on the ballot has passed in my 25 years of coaching and teaching at Ozark High School. This is why the combination budget is a good option, because it yields a sense of security, but it also gives the school district some flexibility as well as financial assistance without totally relying on money, or all of your money, coming from your taxes or tuition if you were a private school. The purpose of the program really is to be responsible with the taxpayers' money. So, we as a school district do not have to go into the community to solicit further funds to make ends meet. The athletic program really is just an extension of the classroom, and your athletic budget should really reflect the needs and the overall purpose and objective of the school district. Donations and community financial support at Ozark goes directly into a general fund and then is dispersed to the athletic programs on an as-need basis. We want to control the cost of our programs really by trying to create equity in every one of them. And you really also want to ensure that you schedule geographically as close as possible. I know we struggle with that in a lot of our sports because we've grown so fast and got so big that a lot of schools have dropped us, and it's forced us to look into Arkansas, Columbia, Sedalia, that area to pick up games. So you also need to, as an athletic director, provide the activity or the sport with the lowest overhead possible, because you always want to finish the year with money left over. You never know what may happen in the future, and you may have to cut, some of the fat off your athletic programs for a few years, or cut down on your overspending. Your basic philosophy on seeking outside funding should really be to try to avoid it at all costs. You really never want to go into the community to try and solicit funds, because it could come across or look like you're giving off the impression that the school district is irresponsible with the taxpayer's dollar, or just doesn't fully understand how to budget or manage their finances. If a business approaches you or they volunteer to help fund you, well, that's a different story. But sometimes businesses and or people need a tax write-off, so making a donation, is a financial option for them. Program expansion is mainly based upon demographics again and trends. Are there enough schools around you to schedule and play to help hold down costs? Is it possible you may have to expand because of growth? Maybe your school district, like Ozark and Nixa, experiences a lot of growth in a short time, and we added a lot of sports like swimming, boys and girls swimming, soccer, sports like that in a short amount of time. Is there a need in your school for expansion? Does the school district have enough money to fund it? Do you have enough interest within the school district to justify that expansion? So you need to make sure before you do it that the community will get behind it with the athletic department and its expansion. Your guidelines that should be set for any individual participating in a fundraiser should revolve around, offering a service, for their money or a good. That way the parents, the patrons, and the businesses in your community get something in return for their money. And it's not like you're soliciting a donation. Fundraising activities should account for, smaller miscellaneous purchases, but are not required, for the basic operation of any program. That should come out of the school's budget that's allotted to the athletic department. They are utilized to increase funds for motel and meal expenditures for out-of-town contests during the regular season. And I know in baseball we take 3 out-of-town trips to Tulsa, Oklahoma, Kansas City, or Lawrence, Kansas, and up to Sedalia, Missouri. And our fundraising account pays for those meals and motels while we're gone, just because, once again, it's hard sometimes to find teams to play. The district always pays for postseason expenses that requires motels and meals. So if you're fortunate enough to, get into possibly a quarterfinal game or state semifinal or Final Four, then your school should be able to kick in and afford that expense. But in the end, your budget really has to reflect your school district's mission, which all in all is to provide the school district and its leaders, with an opportunity to justify the collection and expenditure of public funds. And this statement applies to the athletic director as well, as his job is really just like the superintendent, just not as on a larger scale, because he's responsible for the money that is allocated to the whole athletic department and dispersing it amongst all the sports clubs and activities. So as an athletic director, that is too a huge responsibility that's on your shoulders. So that kind of wraps up the fiscal planning for the evening. Thanks a lot.